Welcome to my presentation on the important passages in Act 1 of Death of a Salesman. This is part 3 of my discussion on Act 1. So I'm going to continue with, then make Charlie your father, Biff. You can't do that, can you? I don't say he's a great man. Willy Loman never made a lot of money. His name was never in the paper. He's not the finest character that ever lived, but he's a human being and a terrible thing is happening to him. So attention must be paid. He's not to be allowed to fall into his grave like an old dog. Attention must be paid, finally paid to such a person. You call him crazy? These are the words of Linda near the end of Act 1 when she reveals or is about to reveal to the boys that Willie is trying to kill himself. And she confronts Biff because it's obvious that Biff would rather have someone like Charlie as his father than to have um, Willie as his dad. And she wants him to know that is completely unrealistic. You can't substitute someone else in place of your father. She lets him know that although Willie is a flawed man, uh, someone who may not measure up to all of his ideals, that Willie is important. So when she says Willie never made a lot of money, she confirms our suspicion that the things that Willie said about himself in the past were all hype for the boys' benefit, but were not real. That Willie has always struggled to eke out a living throughout his entire career. His name was never in the papers. He's not the finest character that ever lived. That line is very telling because it lets us know that she doesn't see him as this perfect man. The love that she has for him is not predicated on the fact that he's never done a bad thing. She knows, and we're going to find out the extent to which she knows he has failed as a husband, as a man. But he's a human being and a terrible thing is happening to him. So attention must be paid. He's not to be allowed to fall into his grave like an old dog. Attention must finally be paid to such a person. And what I usually tell my students in my classes is that I hear the voice of Arthur Miller when Linda says these words. It's the author for me who is telling the reader or the audience that there is a reason why he's chosen this particular individual as the protagonist of this play, and that even though Willie seems like a crazy old man and someone of not much consequence, in fact, Willie's life is as much consequence as any of ours or any one in history. He's a human being. He has an identity. He is someone who has aspirations, hopes, and dreams. And he's so much more like any of us, anyone who would sit in a modern audience, than some of the other characters that we've maybe encountered this year. Much more like us than Romeo and Juliet or Odysseus. He is really the average person. He is I call him the everyman. He represents the individual in society who is not perfect, is not um, someone who's famous, someone who's rich, someone who's powerful. He is like the 99.99% of us in the world who are just average human beings trying to survive from day to day, trying to raise our children, make a living, and have some kind of sense of a good life. And because of that, we're not supposed to just keep him at arm's length. We're not just supposed to point at him and say, oh, look at him, he's just a crazy old man. We're supposed to realize that one day any of us could be in Willie's situation. If you've had parents who've been out of work or struggled to make a living, or you've been in a situation where one parent didn't pay child support or alimony and there was financial problems in the house, then you're probably closer to Willy Loman's story than you realize. And when the author says attention must be paid, finally be paid to such a person, you call him crazy, he's really talking to those in the audience who've already decided this is just a crazy old man, to let you know you're going in the wrong direction. There's more to this story than just the rantings of a crazy old man. So sit up and look a little deeper to find out what is the meaning of Willy Loman's life. Linda says, a small man can be just as exhausted as a great man. He works for a company 36 years this March, opens up unheard of territories to their trademark, and now in his old age, they take his salary away. And this is so true for so many Americans as they get towards their to the end of their career, and people start to minimize them. They're not as young, not as vital as they used to be, and they're kind of shunted off to the side. They're considered, oh, the old guy, and people don't realize it's the old guy who has so much knowledge, so much experience, has seen everything that's gone before, and that person is really a wealth of knowledge that should be valued and respected. And in other cultures, elderly people are valued and respected, but as people get older in American society and maybe not as productive as they used to be, since we are a capitalist society, we're all about productivity, making money, and those people seem to become superfluous. They're unnecessary, and we kind of put them off to the side, and they become less and less important in society. Biff says, because I know he's a fake and he doesn't like anybody around who knows it. And this is really kind of a foreshadowing. It helps to build suspense. Something is going on between Willy and Biff. And Biff has decided that his father is a fake. We know that Willy tried to build himself up in the eyes of his sons when they were young as this perfect father, provider, a great man, and something along the way happened to that image in Biff's mind that now he considers his father a fake. So we have to pay attention as we continue to read. What is it that has happened that Biff has changed his opinion from idolizing his father to now thinking he's a fake? Linda says, last month, with great difficulty, oh, boys, it's so hard to say a thing like this. He's just a big, stupid man to you, but I'll tell you there's more good in him than in many other people. She chokes, wipes her eyes. I was looking for a fuse. The lights blew out, and I went down the cellar, and behind the fuse box that happened to fall out was a length of rubber pipe just short. And in this passage, um, basically, she's revealing that Willy has been trying to kill himself. He's attached a rubber tube to the gas intake of the water heater, and he seems to be planning to inhale that gas as a means of committing suicide. And she's revealing this to the boys in hopes of getting some help, because although she's known for a month, she's been unable to confront her husband about it, say anything to her husband about it. In fact, she takes the rubber tube away during the day and then puts it back when she knows he's coming home, because she's afraid of embarrassing him or making him feel small by allowing him to know that she is aware of his plans to commit suicide. It's quite an odd situation. Linda says, I live from day to day. And she says this because she knows that at any day she could wake up and find out she's a widow. And although we all live with the specter of death in the background, she is keenly aware that it's not so much in the background of her life. Her husband, the traveling salesman, could die at any moment because he plans to take his own life. So she just lives knowing that any morning she wakes up, she could find her husband dead in the basement or get a phone call and find out that her husband has crashed his car on the road. And she feels powerless. I mean, truly, truly powerless to do anything about it without destroying Willy's image of himself. So I guess it's almost like she feels he would die one way or he would die another way, and she's between a rock and a hard place, and she doesn't know what to do. Biff in Act 1 says, "Since when did you get so clean?" This is when Willy comes downstairs and he's confronting Willy, and it's implied here again that Biff has some deep resentment towards his father, where he thinks his father is tainted, his father is unclean, his father has sullied himself in some way, has dirtied himself in some way. And so our minds should really be going back to what we found out about Willy thus far in the story. What might it be that Biff knows that he thinks Willy is unclean? And this is the last slide on Act 1, I believe. Says, like a young god, Hercules, something like that, and the sun all around him. Remember how he waved to me right up from the field with the representatives of 3 colleges standing by, and the buyers I brought, and the cheers when he came out. Loman, Loman, Loman. God Almighty, he'll be great yet. A star like that, magnificent, can never really fade away. So Willy here, I mean, this passage has so much in it. He compares Biff to a young god. We have that simile. He compares him to a hero, Hercules, and you have that imagery of the sun and Biff standing there glowing in his football uniform, waving up to his father, and how Willy hears the chants of all these all the people who came to the game just chanting Biff's last name, Loman, 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 which is his last name also. So it's like they're cheering for him. And he didn't just go with the family. He brought some of the buyers with him so that they could see how wonderful his son was. So like, this is the best day of Willy's life. I think past the birth of his children, past his marriage, this is a day that shines like a beacon in his memory. The day when all the world seemed to be chanting his name, chanting his son's name, and that he felt like his whole life is just trying to get back to that moment, get back to that glory, to recapture it. And he can't let go of the idea that Biff could be loved and admired and respected and held up in such high esteem as that day. He wants that day back. He wants that Biff back. And he can't let go of the idea that this could be Biff's future. So when it says a star like that, magnificent, can never really fade away, there's going to come a time when Willy should let go of this possibility, and we'll see what happens when we get there. Okay, so this is basically what I have on Act 1. It's about 45 minutes of commentary. I hope somebody listens to it. And you can use it to help you fill in your organizer, your double entry sheet. And please add your own ideas. Go beyond my ideas and add in your own. And I will see you in class. Shout out to all the subscribers. Shout out to all my students who are faithfully watching these and listening to these presentations. And I will see you back in class. Okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye.